Well, good morning, my friends, and once again, thank you for taking this opportunity to join me for Sunday, October the 28th, 2018, again, and with just 9 days away to the midterm elections. Again, I do hope that many of you are prepared to get out there and vote, or if you haven't already voted, again, for those of you who haven't, please do so. It's the only way you can let your voice be heard again. But with that being said, we are here following a breaking update that I brought you, a breaking story that I brought you yesterday in regards to a tragic situation that unfolded in the Squirrel Hill area of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where a deranged gunman walked into a Jewish synagogue there and began shouting anti-Semitic remarks to the people that were inside the synagogue there and began firing upon them, leaving a total of 11 people tragically deceased and 6 others wounded, out of 4 of those 6 being police officers. But again, we were following an update in regards to yesterday's tragic situation, where we do know that out of those four police officers, only 3 of them, from what we are understanding, were wounded and another one was injured. But again, we do know that 3 officers also returned fire upon the subject there, wounding him, from what our understanding is at this time. But we do have the names of the victims that tragically lost their lives in this unfortunate massacre inside of this Jewish synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Again, well, we will be leaving a link in regards to this if you would like to go read it for yourself again. But I will be reading from this link from Fox News, where I usually go to bring you any breaking updates in regards to tragic situations of this nature. Again, before we go on, my deepest thoughts and condolences are with the 11 victims' families, and to those who were wounded. We couldn't be more thankful to each and every one of you again for your services. It goes above and beyond what you do. And, as Trump said yesterday when he was here in Murfreesboro, Illinois, for one of his rallies, many of our first responders, they're completely unappreciated for what they do out there. And, for the most part, I couldn't be more thankful to every one of our men and women out there in uniform, working hard to make a difference, to try to clean up our streets and make our neighborhoods a safer place for all of us alike. And it's really unfortunate you have people out there that don't really care for, none of our law enforcement personnel. And with that being said, I leave it at that, my friends. But again, as I've said, our deepest thoughts and our condolences are with the victims' loved ones at this time. Again, are with everyone there as well in Pittsburgh. And of course, everyone affected by this in some way or another. Again, this is a tragic, sad situation that unfolded yesterday. Again, there's absolutely no reason for this type of hatred whatsoever. Again, the house of the Lord is a place where you usually go to, every Sunday or whenever you go, to be able to escape the worries and the fears of the world, and, lay your deepest anxieties or whatever it is that you may be going through in God's hands, and take time out in His Word each and every day, or even when you're in service for the most part. And for something tragic like this to happen, this is just beyond evil, my friends. There's no real word to, really truly describe it, just how evil this really is. And again, we're going to go on to read here in regards to this situation again, where we do know that authorities had updated us this morning in regards to the suspect, who we do know from our understanding was also wounded. We do know he is still in the hospital under in federal custody at this time, undergoing some sort of surgery at this time for his wounds. But again, we do know he is facing a total of 29 federal counts. 11 of them being 11 counts of murder, and another 11 being counts of use of a deadly weapon, which is penalty is a cause, from our understanding, for the death sentence. But again, we do know the other several charges are also in relations to this this horrific crime that was committed yesterday in the Jewish synagogue in Pittsburgh again. But we do know at this time that, they do have him in federal custody by the orders of a judge, and he is expected to face a judge Monday, October the 29th, at approximately 1:30 Eastern time there in a federal court, or however this is supposed to go again. But this is what we do know so far. We do have the names of the victims here, where it does go on to read: the victims of the massacre at a synagogue in Pittsburgh included a grandfather, a husband and wife, and two brothers. Officials and family members have revealed as new details about the alleged gunman behind the deadly rampage were released Sunday. It goes on to further read: the Tree of Life victims were identified, here we go, as Joyce Flenberg, 75, of Oakland; Richard Gottfried, 65, of Ross Township; Rose Mellinger, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing your last name, I apologize to the family, 97, of Squirrel Hill; Jerry Rabnowitz, 66, of Edgewood; Cecil Rosenthal, 59, of Squirrel Hill; David Rosenthal, 54, of Squirrel Hill; Bernie Simon, of 84, of Wilkinsburg; Sylvain Simon, 87, of Wilkinsburg; and Daniel Stain, of 71, of Squirrel Hill; and Melvin Wax, 88, of Squirrel Hill; and Irvin Younger, 69, of Mount Washington. So these are all the victims who tragically lost their lives in this tragic situation that unfolded again yesterday at this time. So again, if you want to read more into this, I will be leaving a link once again. But it goes on to read here, as I've said: U.S. Attorney Scott Bradley called the massacre an unspeakable and hateful crime during a news conference, adding that the alleged gunman, Robert Gregory Bowers, made statements regarding genocide and his desire to kill Jewish people during the shooting rampage. One of the first victims to be identified by family members was 71-year-old Dan Stein, who once served as the president of the New Light Congregation, which holds services at the Tree of Life Synagogue, where the shooting took place. But once again, this is what we do know so far. We do know the names of the victims here, again, as I've read to you. Where it goes on to further read here: he was very active and did everything Stein's nephew, Stephen Hall, told the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. He was there every Saturday for services. But again, of course, there is a picture here of Stein, I guess, pictured with his wife. I'm not sure who that is. For some odd reason, they have her face blurred. But again, I will leave the link so that way you can see this picture and read most of this for yourself. But again, this just comes no more than just one day. Again, as I said, after a person was taken into custody in connection with the 14 pipe bombs. Again, as I've said yesterday. In Florida there, where he was arrested. I believe it was Plantation, Florida, where he was arrested inside of an auto parts store there. Where we did see pictures of his van being taken by the FBI before it was being covered by a blue tarp and being prepared to load onto a flatbed. Many of us noticed a large amount of what appeared to be stickers and pictures, media propaganda stickers and pictures and so on and so forth in his windows of his van there. Many reports also indicate that he was apparently living out of his van somewhere in Ventura, Florida there. Sources also indicate he may have been living with his mother at one point in Ventura, Florida, before he was kicked out. But again, reports indicate he was homeless from what some other sources are saying. And again, he was living out of his van, where some have gone on to say that he was apparently making these pipe bombs out of his own vehicle there. But we don't have, all the details in regards to this just yet. So I'll just kind of let that stand, sit where it is for now. But many are already speculating, even calling this a false flag. I've even gone on to kind of call this a false flag as well. And because, for many reasons. Again, we did watch a video last night of one individual that called this a false flag for many good reasons. Again, because Uh, for one, many people had got a good look at some of those pictures of his van up close with those apparent stickers all over his window. And some have even gone on to say they're not individual stickers. It's just one large piece of tarp or whatever it is there. And it's got multiple pictures all rolled into one, almost kind of like a plastic shade or something of that nature. But again, it really makes you wonder how somebody who was homeless and apparently living out of his own van was able to get the money to be able to do this kind of thing, of course, which leaves many people to again wonder what's really going on here. Again, given we're no more than just 9 days away to the midterm elections, and with the Republican Party already leading in the polls to overtake the Senate again, it leaves many again to really wonder, given, we have this individual who was apparently mailing out these pipe bombs to multiple senators of the Democratic Party, which we know some of them were absolutely calling for leftist protesters to get in the face of Republican senators everywhere again. But, it doesn't justify what happened, even if, I'm wrong at, this whole situation about this suspect that was taken into custody, Cesar Salak of Ventura, Florida, again. But again, this is all we do know right now. It's awfully odd, as I've said yesterday, that we have a caravan of about 7,000 migrants or more on its way into the United States. And what we learned this morning, we have heard that the Mexican authorities are willing to give the migrants refuge again in Mexico, but they refuse to take refuge there, continuing to make their way into towards the United States from Mexico. But then of course we have this deranged individual who walked into a Jewish synagogue yesterday and viciously, unjustly shot and killed 11 people inside of this synagogue yesterday, and of course wounding 3 other police officers as well on top of it. But with everything that's going on, in my honest opinion, as I've said before, I think this is nothing more than a scare tactic from the left. It's obvious, that the left, as Senator Ted Cruz had gone on to say, what they want to do with our Bill of Rights again. They want to abolish our rights to free speech. They want to completely wipe out our rights to bear arms and so on. And we know that they're going to use events that tragically unfolded yesterday over the next coming days to try to reason with the people as to why they need to ban the right, our Second Amendment rights and so on. And, it just goes to show how the left are using this against going to use this against the American people if they're not already, devising a plan to try to hold this against us as, who we are. And as I've said again, it's really sad. And, for those of you who have not got out there and vote, I absolutely urge you to get out there and vote, vote red, and let's do what we can to make, continue to make America great again, because, with so much going on, I never thought I'd see the day where you could be labeled a neo-Nazi and a racist for believing in your country and standing for freedom and standing for your rights to free speech, as so many others have said again. And with everything that's going on now, my friends, it's really sad with the times that we are living in again, but we really need to stay prayed up, stay in His Word, stay in the Word of the Lord each day, and, continue to look to Him and trust Him, because we know that these are, serious times that we're living in again. But with that being said, for those of you, again, watching this for the first time, do feel free to subscribe for further updates or any breaking news if we happen to have any. Again, I will do my very best, as I've said, to bring that to you, of course, as I've said. And with that being said, do subscribe again, and God bless, and I will be talking to you all soon.